So hi guys, excuse the view. This is up at the house in the kitchen. We're going to be doing some work in here, so it's a bit like it's not as good as the Spencer Arms view, but it's a Wednesday night and I've decided to have one beer. Jenny says I've been a good boy, so I can have a beer. And I went down to the fridge and I've got many to choose from, but I picked this birthday beer number 10. And it is a New Zealand hopped West Coast IPA at ABV 6.5%. So that tickled my fancy. It's a collaboration. It's the 25th anniversary. I've been celebrating the first 25 years of Marble Beers. And it's a collaboration with Burning Skies Beers as well. So the two of them collaborating of their favourite West Coast IPA and their favourite New Zealand, using their favourite New Zealand hops. It says here, brewed with our friends at Burning Sky, this style reflects our mutual love of West Coast IPAs and New Zealand hops. On top of a classic West Coast base. Now, I talked about this at the St Ives Brewery the other day, that I think a really good West Coast IPA, there's some West Coast IPAs that are really boom in the bitterness and they've got nothing really to sort of like take away that bitterness, but I like the West Coast IPAs exactly like the one I had at the St Ives Brewery, and this is tasting very similar. Here it is. I'm going to buy myself some new, just unbranded IPA glasses. So cause I wanted to put the full can in. I didn't really want to put it in a tasting glass. My West Coast sort of IPAs, I like that nice bitter smash with some nice aromas, some nice juicy flavours. But I also like to get a bit of malts. I like to get the malts just to tickle the bitterness, not to take it away, because obviously the bitterness is the star of the show. But I really wanted it to tickle away. But the reason I've come here is this. So I've had this for probably 20 minutes now, and it is rather nice. It's really nice. It's got quite a sort of a lemony, citrusy, but malty smell as well. So, and it says on a classic West Coast base, which I think I've already said. So to me, that's just like a malty bag, some malts in there just to come along and just to, hops, just to chill slightly, So the taste of this is wonderful. Swilling it around the mouth, you actually get a balance of the hops and the malts, but then even though the malt's there, it's the malt just before the bitterness comes in to really car crash you. The malts just calm it down, and then the malts just disappear, leaving the bitterness. So here we go again, just in case you missed that. So you got the hops come in, the malt comes in the sort of the same time, just slows the bitterness down, and then the bitterness just carries on. But it's not a suck your cheek in. I think these hops are quite, from what I've read about a couple of them, but I don't really know much, just having a quick look, quite oily, so lots of alpha acids in there, but I think there's lots of flavours coming out of them as well. So they're all New Zealand hops. I can't really read them very well, like Nelson, Sauvin, Montuca, Monterre, and a touch of Citra. So it's lovely on the nose. It's really sort of fresh, not overly fruity, not really juicy fruit. But what I noticed is there is a lot of floats in here. Now, it didn't say anything about a canned condition. I don't think I've ever had a canned conditioned beer. Tell me if there is available. But I do know that even though it doesn't say about pour carefully, there could be sediment in here or anything like that. I do know that with IPAs and West Coast IPAs, you know, New England IPAs and like dipper beers and that, you're gonna get some sediment at some point, regardless of whether they tell you that there's any in there. I don't care. I always chuck it in anyway. I love it. But this has really interested me because we've got on the bottom of the glass, I don't know where you can see that, you've got the, I would say that's the yeast that's in there that's gone to the bottom, because I think with beers they put, I think it's collagen. Is it collagen? Correct me if I'm wrong. Fran told me about that at St Ives Brewery. Collagen, I'm sure it is, but like finings, if a beer's fined, it's like it grabs hold of the yeast and it makes it sort of settle to the bottom. So the yeast will go to the bottom. However, in here I've got floaters. You probably can't see it. It's quite a hazy beer, as you'd expect. But the floaters, I'm just wondering, I can really see it. I don't know whether you can see that. I don't think you can. But I've got floaters around here. So I'm thinking the floaters could be like some remnants of the hops. So you got the yeast at the bottom, which I tell you what, I am going to swirl round and I'm going to get that down me. But also, if I swirl that round, I really want you to see, like, but I don't think you see it. There's floaters in there. Now, yeast don't really float about, does it? It settles. Unless if it's unfiltered and unfined, then you probably could get yeast floating around and then moving around or whatever. But these are like little particles in the beer, which are really interesting to look at and watch. I've never actually seen that before. So it's a really interesting can. Look at all the hops on there. It's a real, sort of seems like a real celebration of New Zealand hops there, with a touch of Citra just to, give it a little bit more zing. But it's really lovely. And if you get you can really, if you want to switch off your hop head and put your malt head on, you can really get a really lovely sweet malt. It's really caramel malt, like a crystal malt, really caramel in, which you just think, I want a West Coast IPA to smash the bitterness in me. But I do love the ones that give you that malt in there, but it's not malt forward. But this one is quite interesting. The same as the St Ives. I can't think what they did, a West Coast IPA. And it was the same thing. The first thing I got was malts. After drinking several of their beers, if you watched my chat about St Ives when we went on the tour, after drinking several of them beers back to back, one after the other and what have you, it was hard to obviously get a true taste of all them beers. But when I got their West Coast one, the first thing I got was the malt. And this is what I'm getting with this. So to the nose, it's lemony, limey, fruity, not over fruity, malts. It's like the malts climbing up there, sort of saying, hey, me. But then the malts, it's like the bitterness wants to come in and take over, but the malts are like, no. Just come and balance it out, just calm it down a bit, and then you're left. You're just left with a lingering bitterness. Really, 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 really good. Really good this is. I really like this. This is really, really nice. So I was just sat in the front room with Janie, and Janie's having a nice Padstow gin, keeping, seeing as we've just come back from St Ives in Cornwall. Let's keep it cool. Let's have a Cornish gin. Really nice. And she had it with, now, I'll be back. She had it with, we've seen these today, pink grapefruit crafted soda. So she had it with that. Now, here's the thing that I talk about a lot, and I watched the video, the St Ives video that I did, and I'm sort of talking like mango-y, pineapple. It's almost coming across as if I'm saying, I'm sort of criticising not criticising, sort of saying, really, can you beer reviewers really smell that? It's when I've watched it back, it comes across like that. But what I mean is, I don't mean it like that. I mean, I just think like, how do they smell the individual? How can they pick up a beer like this, for instance? Like, I can smell that that's got like a lemony limey smell, because that's quite dominant, isn't it? You put a lime or a lemon around you and you smell it. But when I see beer reviews go, you know, they pick out pineapple, mango, peach, whatever, I can't get that. So this is a pink grapefruit, and instantly, grapefruit. You put that under my nose, ask me to smell it, grapefruit. So if you drink a grapefruited infused beer or a grapefruit forward beer, that's the most dominant flavour, hot smell in there, you know, I'll get that. But I find it intriguing that beer reviewers that I watch, I mean, they're obviously professional. They've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of beer. They know what they're talking about. But to be able to smell all them individual smells. So I can't really tell you all the individual smells in here, but I would think if you was to give that to somebody blind to smell, they wouldn't be picking out every single fruit in that. It's not overly fruity. It's not like some New England IPAs are really overripe fruit taste. This is very fresh in its aromas, but more hitting around the lemon, lime, and citrusy, around that citrusy note. So the citra hops are probably coming a bit more out beyond the New Zealand hops. But they're all sort of fruity hops anyway, so I believe. But I love the malt. So whatever malts are in this, I'd say it's a nice caramelly crystal malt, really nice. But I just wanted to come on and just chat to you about it, because, you know, guys and girls, have you ever had floaters in your beer? Floaters. Proper individual little bits of stuff in there. I can spin that and I can see them floating around, but the yeast is staying firmly at the bottom. But yeah, the little white looking floats in there, which I would think, hopefully, are little bits of hops chucking about there. So I was just about to, I've just been to edit this video quick, just going to chill out with Janie and edit it while she watches her sort of like what I call shit TV. And I've spun this last bit round. So this, as you remember, at the bottom of that glass, look, it had all that yeast sediment in it, and I've literally spun this round, and I just went into Janie and said, this is a bloody lovely beer, this is. And I've spun that round all in there, and I've had a sip, and the only way I can describe that is smooth, creamy nectar. Please do not ever, a lot of people that will watch this, and any beer reviewers, any craft beer heads will not pour carefully. We always like to chuck the sediment in the glass, because do you know what? How can I put it? If you know, when you was a kid and your mum did, I mean, I'm 53, so I'm a 70s kid, and your mum did like faggots and peas, and as kids we'd always fight for the faggot tray. You know, you'd have your faggots, slop your faggots out, and all lovely jubbly with your peas and your spuds or whatever, and your gravy and that. But we'd fight for the tin, because we want to get that. We want to get that bit round the edge, or that burnt bit, because that's the best bit. It's got all them flavours. Well, this is like scraping the, you know, like if we had 4 of these beers, everybody would go in, oh, let me have the last bit. So yeah, that last bit with the yeast and whatever little bits of hot floaters have gone down there. Oh, it's like a melted, creamy toffee. And I tell you what, after a nice bitter crush West Coast, and it's still got the bitterness there. It's still got a bit of bitterness after a lovely crushable, smooth, bitter West Coast IPA to finish off with a lovely caramel melted toffee. If I gave beers reviews out of 10. So a little thank you to these guys for creating, I think this is called Burning Sky, which is a collaboration of these two brewers that I've not actually heard of before, celebrating their love of West Coast IPA and New Zealand hops. So yeah, absolutely, really nice beer, and quite crushable as well, you know, at 6.5 ABV, very crushable. Right, okay, cheers guys for watching, and yeah, all the usual, please like, subscribe and everything else, and yeah, and excuse the kitchen. Gave beers reviews out of 10. Let's make this my first beer review out of 10. Okay, I'm going to start with an 8 because like I have had beers that make my eyes boil and water and I love to pieces, but let's start with an 8. That is a good 8 out of 10. Yeah, wicked. Do not ever, just trust me, get the sediment in, wait till the end, give it a good swill, get on it. The yeast is there to give you flavours as well. Trust me, it's amazing. Thank you.